Brenda. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. All right, everyone. So thank you for your patience. We are going to go ahead and get started. I appreciate everyone hopping on today. I know a lot of you are very busy, but we are going to discuss and learn from Josh about his customer success story of how Rapid IT RIC-GENIE reduced Varex Imaging's Workday testing efforts by 80%. So this webinar is being recorded, and we will also have it available on our website tomorrow. So my name is Brenda Kapsch, and I'm the Business Development Manager for Rapid IT Cloudera, and I'll be your host. And we're thrilled to be speaking with our guest today, Josh Campbell, the Senior Manager of HRIS for Varex Imaging. Josh has a very compelling story to tell about Varex Imaging's experience with our GENIE automation tool and how it continues to serve as a valuable asset to his organization's Workday updates. And in the second half of our presentation, we're going to feature Gopo Freeze. He is our VP of Product and also the co-developer of our GENIE automation solution. So Gopo will demonstrate how GENIE can reduce testing time, save resources during your organization's updates and changes. So before we get into the body of our presentation, I'd like to share a little brief overview of today's agenda. So it will be how Varex Imaging used GENIE to maximize their Workday 2020 R1 testing. We're going to have a GENIE overview, followed up by a summary, and then we're going to wrap it up with the Q&A session. Please feel free to use the chat feature to submit any questions you may have, and we'll get to as many of those as we can at the end of our webinar. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Josh Campbell and thank him for joining us today. Josh, if you could give our audience a quick introduction of Varex Imaging and your responsibilities there, I will turn it over to you.
Okay. Yeah, so hi, good afternoon, everyone. As Brenda mentioned, my name is Josh Campbell. I'm the Senior Manager of HRIS here at Varex Imaging. Just a little bit of background of Varex Imaging real quick. Varex Imaging is a leading innovator, developer, and manufacturer of X-ray imaging component solutions, which includes X-ray tubes, digital flat panel detectors, software, and other key components of X-ray imaging systems. As Varex Imaging, we've only been around for 3 years, since we spun off from Varian Medical Systems back in January of 2017. But our history dates back to the 1930s. Each year we produce about 25,000 X-ray tubes, 23,000 X-ray panels, and 1,000 kilometers of high voltage cables. So our business really is providing those components to other manufacturers that build the full X-ray machine. Varex Imaging is a global company. Our headquarters are located in Salt Lake City, Utah. We have 2,000 employees in 21 countries. And I really like our mission statement. It says that through the talent of our people and vision of customers, we help improve and save lives throughout the world by making the invisible visible. And that's the culture that we're trying to build, even outside of our products, just with our people, in terms of making the invisible visible throughout our company and throughout our lives. I've been with the company for almost 3 years now. Started in May of 2017 as they were starting to implement Workday. And really do love the company, love working with the people of Varex Imaging. As far as Workday, our journey started even before we spun off from Varian, but we didn't go live with Workday until December of 2017. So we've been live now on Workday for over 2 years. We use almost all of the Workday HCM suite, such as recruiting, talent, performance, time tracking, payroll compensation, HCM, benefits, and absence. The only functional area right now that we don't use is learning, and we are looking at that. We're just waiting for it to be certified to some extent and see how we can use it. So as far as, up here on the slide, Brenda's got COVID-19. I think it's affecting a lot of us. I first want to just say that I hope everyone out there is doing well. none of you have been impacted too much by the COVID-19 virus. It's definitely had an impact on our operations. But thanks to the hard work and dedication of our team, we're still able to meet our production demands, which are still high. So we still have a lot of people at the plant. Some of our people that, like myself, that can work from home are working from home. But we still have in the Salt Lake facility, at least 600 people that have to help with the production process. So it's quite the process and quite the journey that we've had with this. And again, I just hope all of you are doing well.
Thanks, Josh. That's quite the undertaking for you all to keep everything up and running during this time too. So Josh, I'm going to actually turn to ask you a few questions about the relationship between Varex Imaging and Rapid IT Cloud Bera. The first one was, what was your business driver to use GENIE automation?
Okay. So as a public company, we have IT general controls established around regression testing for major updates to software like Workday. Once we implemented Workday, we needed a way to ensure that our testing was sufficient enough to identify any issues caused by the new Workday updates to our existing functionality. Our company had an automated testing tool that we used for SAP, but when we tried it for Workday, it just took too long to configure and wasn't stable enough. It took almost a full week just to create a test scenario for changing contact information in Workday. We knew that our current tool that we used at Varex wasn't going to work for Workday, so we actually started to look for other tools. Unfortunately, we didn't find GENIE until after our first cycle of testing that in 2018.
And so would you say that GENIE has now improved your regression testing, and how do you feel? Well, I'll let you answer that first.
Okay, yeah, for sure. It's definitely helped a lot in our regression testing. I think, it automated the testing for us, and it made our regression testing more accurate and consistent. It was much easier.
Okay, and then with respect to GENIE, what differences or impact do you feel like it has made for you and your team?
It's made a lot of difference. The first time that we had to test a new Workday release was in February of 2018. Like I mentioned, since we didn't have GENIE, we developed our own set of test cases, which was very difficult. I don't know, for those of you out there, not necessarily you can get some of the test cases from Workday, but for the most part, you have to make your own test cases up, especially if you're doing it manually. And then we did that with our business partners, and we met with our business partners to go over the test cases that we had created. And then we had to go through the test cases with them, identify what issues might be there. Plus we were new at the time, so that also added to the increase in time that it took, just in terms of helping our business partners get used to the process. But it was quite the process to just do the regression testing for that first release. We had just gone live in December, so about a month earlier really. And here we were testing and trying to do this all on our own. Like I said, we tried to use the testing tool that we had in place at Varex, but it was just not going to work. So I think for our team, it's been much easier. We let GENIE run the test cases. We review the results with the GENIE team, and then we record the results for our auditor. So it's made a big difference for us.
Oh, that's awesome to hear. And as far as spending or saving time during the testing before and after GENIE, did you see a large difference with your time,
for sure.
or your team's time?
Yeah, I don't have an exact number, but I would say, if I were to think about it, there's probably at least 15 hours on average per person involved.
Oh, wow.
And that includes our business partners, so during that month. And part of that could have been just because we were getting used to the system, but just with the test cases build, going through the test cases, reviewing the issues, going back and redoing the testing if there was issues. That's probably about 15. So at least as a total for the team, we probably spent upwards of 150 to 200 hours total. And now with Genie, it's been more like 30 hours.
Oh, that's amazing. That's great to hear.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. So did that actually, obviously it's freeing you up to do other projects and, but were you able to explore any of the new features and functionalities in Workday because of that, or?
Yeah, it's definitely made it easier to look at what's coming out in the next release. You know, I think the significant difference really is the reduction in time that it takes to test, but then what that does is allows us not only to focus on the current projects, but also to look at that new functionality that's coming out. We don't have to really add that additional, 150 or 15 hours of work per person to our already overloaded task list.
Right.
And it's something you have to do, and you have to do the testing, but what Genie allows us to do is kind of let that run in the background, and then we can look at what's coming out that's new, talk to our business partners about what they want to implement, and then look at testing that as well. So it's definitely helped in that way, as well as just the day-to-day tasks that we have. We haven't felt like we're overwhelmed as much.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. And then lastly, what was your experience with our Genie team?
The Genie team's been great to work with. I think we've built a great partnership with you all, and we trust in your ability to ensure that it's working effectively for us. I'm amazed at the tool and, at the team as we've talked, and this last regression testing cycle went really smooth.
Oh, that's good to hear. Well, do you have anything else that you'd like to add, or should we keep on?
I don't think so. I think just for us, Genie's made a big difference. The automation of our testing has really helped us. Like I mentioned before, just the testing tools that we saw and the testing tools that we had didn't work for us. And Genie's came along, and at least for us, it works. So I just really appreciate both the team and the tool.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Josh. I'm sure our audience will have questions. So you all please stay tuned for our Q&A session. But as humans, we all get so busy on our day-to-day tasks and projects that we do have limited resources. So we're not always able to give 100% of our time, and we're not able to always properly test all these scenarios. So with Genie automation, your organization will see a significant reduction in testing time, a reduction of errors, and because Genie will take away the guesswork, you will see the unpredictability of your resources, and work schedules will be eliminated by using Genie. So our Genie team will work side by side with your team to make sure that your testing is as simple as one click, thus freeing up your time and your team's time, as Josh said, so that you can explore new Workday features and functionalities. And you are going to be able to have more time to focus on other vital areas of your core business. And we are going to touch on a Genie right now. So I'm going to share this for GoPo.
Thank you, Brenda, for muting. Appreciate it. Can you guys hear my voice audible enough? Is it good enough?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Brenda, for the presentation. And I wanted to follow up and say, like our customers right now feel uncertainty about how things flow from a scenario to scenario from a different module, right? So for example, you're testing creating a job rec in recruiting, and how are you going to tie it up to hiring a candidate for that requisition. So all of this tying things together have some uncertainty for our clients to make sure the data flows seamlessly from one module to another module. So our Genie's end-to-end testing capability will provide you that level of comfort that our customers are looking for. and we'll move on to the integrations. And for integrations, customers are always worried, like, okay, are is my connection stable? Can I send my output to my vendor? Or the key files being delivered correctly as per the specifications defined by the vendor or the third party system or the internal system. So we have provided end-to-end integration testing capability in Genie that will help you perform this tasks, and gives you that comfort that the customers are looking for. The security aspect of things, right? So like you have hundreds of security groups that you have defined in the system, and be it delivered or be it a custom security group, you want to make sure that all your security restrictions are maintained correctly for each of these security group. And how do you ensure that the security is upright for after a patch is applied or after a release is done? So Genie provides you the ability to do security testing, so that will keep your mind at ease, knowing that the security restrictions you have imposed for your role based, user based, intersection, any of these security groups that you're that you're accessing, and providing the proper provisioning that's needed. All right. So next, I want to talk about, like, if you have implemented Workday payroll at your company, and some of our customers do have Workday payroll. So they all always they worried about, like, how are we making sure, like, the variances between the payroll runs, if it's exact same data that you run another payroll for, how are you making sure the variances are the unknown variances are accounted for? How are you making sure that something absurd didn't happen because of some config change that you've done in a pay component? How are we able to gain that trust on the system? So Genie provides you payroll comparability, that you can compare payroll between two runs, that will let you that will give the customers or the payroll managers or payroll admins the ability and the ease that they are looking for. And last but not the least, the SOX compliance aspect of it. Everybody in this age of generation, like, everybody is making sure that we're all SOX compliant, we're audit compliant, we're GDPR compliant. So Genie enables you to be compliant with these things, and have auditable results, and ensure that you have all the check marks checked for your compliance team or the auditing team, to make sure that everything has been tested, all the things are working accurately, and they can see auditable results. Thank you. So here we are trying to show you the improvements that Genie has given to our customers, and the throughput it has increased. Before, our customers are performing spot checks, and that's a huge risk that you're opening up. So Genie has increased the testing comprehensively over 400%, and while reducing the reduction in cost and savings in time, as Josh was mentioning earlier. So it opened up other things for our customers to focus on, exploring the new product features. All of these they are able to focus on and improve while using Genie. We want to talk about the subscriber levels that we have currently. So we have Genie Lite and Genie Premium. So as part of Lite and Premium, we have we configured and maintain the code base. So how Josh was talking earlier about hosting the own scripts, which was a nightmare for just doing one small transaction in Workday. So none of that it can be burdened on your end. Everything will be maintained by Genie and our team. So for Lite and Premium, that comes standard. configuring your business process, adding your integrations, reports, creating packages. All of that comes standard with both light and premium subscriptions, including scheduling packages, reviewing the calls, having test review calls with the customers to make sure everything is tied up on the release or patch testing. Unlimited usage of Genie. But the two additional features that you're going to get by using premium is creating and maintaining the custom test cases that the client is interested in. We have thousands of scenarios that come standard with Genie subscription. But then if the customer has any additional things that we would like to take care of, that will also be included as part of premium but not light, along with running any ad hoc test runs or monitoring and test and showing the test results. So these are some of the light and premium subscription level uh, uh, models that we have. All right. So as part of end-to-end testing, we want to show you like different packages that we provide standard to our customers, which will give ability to test the different scenarios. Say, for example, right, we have a standard out-of-box end-to-end end-to-end scenarios, like where you can plan to hire. So you can you can create this package. These kind of packages come standard with Genie, where you can where you have a job requisition. You create a prospect, you create a job application, you route the job, you route the candidate through the job application process, you hire the candidate. All of this comes as a bundled, as a package, which will hit multiple various modules that can cover plan to hire. Similarly, we have productivity to pay. So as part of that, you perform new hires, you enroll, you perform comp changes for those new hires, you run the calcs, run the completes, you all using Genie. And then you can view the payslip to make sure that the hired candidate has all the appropriate based on the compensation changes, that's reflected correctly in the employee's paycheck, right? We have like hire to terminate. So you hire a candidate, perform job changes, perform different comp changes, and then you might want to, if you have to terminate the employee, so you can test the end-to-end life cycle of the of the employee's life cycle. So like that, we have various scenarios, like even in finance we have like contract to cash, expense to reimburse, procure to pay. Like all these different end-to-end scenarios come standard with Genie, which will cover testing between various modules, giving you that comfort that data is flowing from one module to another module, and you're able to successfully create a end-to-end package. So these packages are scheduled to run weekly for our customers. So so that gives them the peace of mind that I come Monday morning, Genie has tested all my key end-to-end business process and made sure that nothing broke. And if there is anything, we have these review calls to make sure we address them. We being proactive instead of being reactive. So that is the level of the commitment and the level of service that you get from Genie and its capabilities. And next, I want to talk about integrations. So as we just learned, Genie will perform testing on both outbound and inbound integrations. It will perform your unit testing. It will perform scenario testing on your output files. So for example, you hired an employee. You run your benefit connector. You want to make sure that this new employee, if he's benefits eligible, he's picked up on the file. How do you ensure this happens? All of this can be done using Genie. So Genie validates your integration maps, integration attributes. All of those things can be addressed by Genie. So this puts us way far ahead from our competition in level of testing with Genie, right? So it will give you, okay, is there an ISU tied to that integration? Does ISU have the access to run the integration? Is the integration set up, is the security set up correctly for that ISU? It can can the integration communicate with the vendor? Is the connection successful? Is there any problem with the connection? Are the environment restrictions set up correctly? All these things can be addressed by Genie in using integrations feature in Genie. Right? So all of these come standard with Genie, and like we talked about security as well. So I just want to quickly mention on security. You have ability to test various types of security groups. So be it a role based, user based, intersection, segmented, doesn't matter to Genie. So what Genie you need to tell Genie is who is your target subject and who is your target worker. So Genie then looks at the access that they have. What fields are they supposed to have access to? What actions should they be able to perform in Workday? Based on the templates that we provide, we ask customer to tell us, okay, what actions or what fields or what should a HR partner do in Workday? What should a recruiter perform in Workday? And once you feed this information into Genie will be able to test all these and ensure your security is tied up, and you have you have that peace of mind that there's no security breach within the based on their group's restrictions that you have configured. Lastly, I want to highlight on the payroll compare that we just talked about earlier. So you will be able to set the threshold of variance in Genie, which will which will give you an opportunity to say, okay, when I do compare between two pay groups, based on my variance, based on the threshold that was set, are the variance is accurate, and which it will tell you like which pay components are causing these variance. It will go into that level of detail, and it can be payrolls can be compared between the same tenant for two different pay runs, or it can be compared between two different tenants like Sandbox and Preview. And this feature our customers enjoy, because when you have a release or a patch applied, they will be able to compare between Sandbox and Preview, and for that same particular run to ensure that there are no variances caused by the code that was introduced to your Preview tenant. And he, and I wanna give you some time to think about all of that we just talked about, and we're gonna play we're gonna show you. Brenda is gonna show the video of how Genie bots like go in and perform do the all the hard work for you behind the scenes. So like Genie performs like it's like having your own army of Genie bots behind the scenes, like working and performing different transactions at a click of a button, right? So you have your you have your extensive QA team that is ready to do all of this work. It's like it's like manually, if you're trying to do you're trying to replicate, we'll be able to spin up Genie bots, like hundreds of Genie bots that can go parallelly and perform, which saves humongous amount of time, and thousands of validations that we perform makes it easy for a bot to do versus spending manual tedious amount of time, instead of focusing on the new deployment features that is Workday is being released.
Thank you, Gopo. So before moving on to any questions, I do want to highlight a few things. Rapid IT Cloudera is a Workday Access partner. Genie was built exclusively for Workday users. We offer support 24/7, 365 from our US-based call center. So you can have the peace of mind that when you leave at the end of the day, or you're going home on Friday for the weekend, that Genie is going to be busy doing all the testing grunt work, which equates to no more manual testing. Genie is the only end-to-end testing solution on the market. And with Genie, your results are 100% accurate, auditable, and compliant. So why is Genie of more value to your organization than any other solution? because GENIE is smarter, faster, simpler, and more efficient than manual testing. You're going to see a reduction in testing time, a reduction in costs. It's going to free up your valuable resources. And one thing we want to be really clear on is GENIE is not going to replace any employees. It's merely going to take away the mundane, repetitive time that they would spend running these tests, which again is freeing up their time to work on the more important day-to-day activities. And it's going to build confidence for your compliance team. So, in summary, we hope that today your takeaway is that Josh and Varex Imaging are 100% satisfied with our GENIE services. His organizational goals have been met and they continue to exceed their testing requirements, which is a pure testament to the power of GENIE. Josh, I want to thank you for your time today. The positive feedback from our clients is always welcome, and knowing that GENIE is still exceeding Varex Imaging's expectations is awesome to hear. The empowerment and positive changes that GENIE continues to bring to Varex Imaging shows great ROI, and we're proud to have been part of their solution. And before we get to questions, I also want to let everyone know that we are still planning to be at Workday Rising in September. So if you guys do plan on attending, look for our roaming GENIE and stop by our booth to chat with our executive team. So it looks like I have several questions. So let me go ahead and get started. So our first question is for Josh. How has GENIE increased the confidence in your testing around internal controls?
Brenda, thank you.
Yep.
Around internal controls. So I think Gopal mentioned it a little bit earlier, but there's definitely a risk that we all face when trying to do this, as just manually. We build test cases, we think we've got everything, and even with GENIE, you have to build test cases, but the good thing about it is it's really consistent. Each of us, we have a test case, but we may run it differently each time we run it, even though, we mean to, the intent is always good, and we've run through the process and maybe even end-to-end created positions and then, created requisition and hired people, but it may go different each time, and we may miss things that we would have caught the last time we ran it. So from my perspective, the confidence that I have around our internal controls now is much greater in terms of just eliminating some of that risk and reducing that risk of, just human error. It happens. But by automating it with GENIE, it's just become a lot better for us. It's been more accurate and more consistent. And I think also, as Gopal had mentioned, just the savings time for us, I think in some cases that not having enough time to test can also create some of those errors that are just inherent in manual processes. So I think it's helped us too to focus a little bit more on the test results versus just building the test cases and running them, but looking more at what's happening at the end. So it's been great for us. It's definitely increased our confidence in that internal control and in the process.
Awesome. Thanks, Josh. Gopal, so we have a question for you. I heard that you offer security testing. What kind of security testing is done in GENIE?
Thank you, Brenda. Yep, sure. So we, as I mentioned earlier, Brenda, we offer in-depth security testing for different various security groups that customer has configured in their tenant. So our GENIE's flexibility in testing what security groups they have configured on what they're supposed to see, what they're supposed to perform, gives them the ability to ensure that the security is upright. So yes, we do offer extensive security testing in GENIE.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So our next question is, are you able to test the different integration types that Workday supports? Gopal, do you want to field that one, please?
Sure. Thank you. Yes, as I was talking earlier, we do test both in both outbound and inbound integrations. We test web services, output, files, or output files. So we have, we offer extensive testing on the integration for unit testing or scenario testing. So we offer exclusive amount of testing on the integrations to ensure that the data exchange is seamless between going out of Workday or coming into Workday. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
So it actually looks like we're running out of time today. So if your question wasn't answered, or you'd like more information on our GENIE GENIE demo, please feel free to contact me, and I will gladly get a time set up for everyone. But I want to thank everyone for their time today. We enjoyed spending the afternoon with you all and showcasing GENIE. Thank you, Josh and GoPo, for your time today as well. And we look forward to talking with everyone soon.
All right. Thanks, Brenda.
Thank you.